Think about the smartest person that you know, the smartest person in your grade, the smartest person in your family, or that you know down the street. What if I told you that the smartest people that you know have been keeping secrets from you? Now, if that sentence elicited any kind of emotional, unpleasant reaction from you, then you're in the right place. If it didn't, you can click off this video right now because you're not in the right place. This video is strictly only for the people who are done being academic victims to the education system and are ready to claim their academic victories. Let's eat! If you've made it this far into Nema's room, you and I were pretty good friends, and everybody knows that I'm a loyal friend down to a T. So I'm not gonna let any of these academic weapons keep secrets from my besties. Therefore, today I'm gonna be showing you guys some tips, tricks, and life hacks to becoming the ultimate academic weapon that nobody can mess with. At the start of my academic journey, I was just like you. And especially when I first started doing my AS level Cambridge exams, I felt like I was hopeless. Yup. This was a whole new level of education after I had gone an entire year without doing any kind of academic work. The only thing I had done was focus on obviously publishing my book, but that's another story. I felt like I was incredibly disadvantaged, and I would call my mom every single day. I felt so dumb in every single classroom that I walked into that wasn't English or English literature, which obviously come extremely naturally to me because I am an author and a fiction writer. I felt incredibly defeated, and I felt like there was no hope for me. That was until I woke up one day and I decided that I was going to stop being an academic victim. One day, my history teacher, after a whole bunch of us had failed our test, she noticed that a lot of people in my class struggled with test anxiety, and that when she would place the papers on our desks, everyone would freeze up and forget every single thing that they knew. And so she said something that lingered in the minds of all of us and would literally change the course of my life forever. She said, "Do not get anxious, get active."
Oh, yes.
And what does that mean? What does don't get anxious, get active mean? It means that instead of sitting there and moping and worrying about what could be, you need to become it. Instead of wishing on shooting stars, you need to become the star. You gain absolutely nothing by sitting there and feeling sorry for yourself. The only time that you can actually make change in your life and in your academic career is if you get up and do something. And I know that this is easier said than done, and we all have our different struggles academically, which do play a very key role in how and what pace we are able to move academically. But there comes a point in which you need to sit down and decide that this is your life that you need to take charge of and do better for yourself. I went from getting E's and F's in my history class to getting B's and A's. Sometimes you just need to be reminded that there is absolutely no one out there who is going to work for you. This is your life and you need to take charge. And that's why I'm here, because I know that it's easier said than done, and I'm going to be here every step of the way to remind you guys and to give you guys the best possible advice that you can get on how to do the best that you possibly can for yourself in your academic career. I decided one day that I wasn't going to let that keep happening to me, and that I was going to do what I could to get where I needed to be. And you need to ingrain that into your brain. You need to do what you can to get where you need to be. Think of where you want to be 10 years from now. Do you want to be sitting there 10 years from now feeling this overwhelming regret because you did not take action? No, you don't want that. Nobody wants that. And that's why you're here right now. The fact that you are here right now listening to me on YouTube in my room, teaching you about how to get better grades, shows that you want better for yourself. And I'm going to show you just how to do that. First things first, we need to talk about your environment. Now, I'm not talking about the city where you live or the country that you stay in. That is not something that you can control. I am talking about the environment around you that you can control. If you're sitting there right now in a really messy room, your desk has pens and papers all over it with no significant meaning, you need to change things up. You need to change things up. Why do I believe that having a clean room and a clear desk is important? Because a clean desk and a clean room signifies a clear mind. It plays such an important role in you being motivated to show up every single day and study. If your house is dirty, you're not gonna wanna come home from work every single day to a dirty house. No, you need to clean your desk, okay? This is very, very important. If you haven't done that already, I want you to literally pause this video, clear your desk, clear your room, and come right back. You need to ensure that you are in a distraction-free space. Okay, for example, I know for a fact that I cannot study in my room. There's way too much in there that has the potential to distract me. I have a bunch of K-pop albums in there, my TV, my Nintendo Switch. I will get distracted there. So what do? I get up, go to the dining room, and study there. You can also have a third space in which you go study. You can study in the library, you can study after school, in your classrooms, you can go to a friend's house where you know that you will not be distracted. Literally, even the kitchen will do. Whenever I'm in school, and obviously you guys know that I go to a boarding school, sometimes when I don't want to study in my room anymore, I will literally stand up, go to my friend's room, and sit on her carpet and study there. Because a change of environment can really help re-jog your brain and encourage you to study. You need to forget about your phone.
Rachel, this is serious. This is really serious.
And I know that sounds like I am asking the mountain and the ocean of you, but I am telling you right now, this thing that you're watching me on right now, this screen, is not helping you. This screen will be your downfall. Whether it means going into your settings and reducing your screen time, setting limits like you're literally a 5-year-old in preschool, do that. Personally, I turn on a Pomodoro timer and set my phone on Do Not Disturb and flip it over because that is what helps me. I do not need notifications from the girls group chat coming through when I'm studying geography, okay? Like that's just not necessary. So forget about your phone because you will not be remembering that text message when it's 5 years from now when you're repeating your exam for the 3rd time. Put that phone away. Furthermore, if you're anything like me, something that is extremely important to me that a lot of people always tend to discourage and think is like super childish, but I do not care, okay, is having really cute, aesthetically pleasing stationery to work with. I will have a cute pencil case. I will have cutesy pens. I will have a really nice laptop case. I will have a really cutesy backpack. I will have it all just to motivate me. And another thing I think could really help you guys is getting a pair of noise canceling headphones. If let's say you're in an environment that is really difficult to work from, like let's say if you're studying in the kitchen and there's a bunch of noise around, you are going to need a good pair of noise canceling headphones. I personally have the AirPod Maxes, which I got earlier this year in January, and they have been one of the best investments I've ever made in my entire life. You just flick on the little button over here and you cannot hear the outside world. You're basically in space. Now, I do not recommend wearing noise canceling headphones for a very long time because personally for me, the pressure gets too much and I feel like I'm on an airplane and it gives me a headache, but these are really good for when you're studying and you need to block out the outside world and focus on your notes, okay? So I recommend these. You could get these or you could get the Sony ones, which are $300. These were $500, including shipping for me because I live in Zambia, obviously. Now, you do not need any type of fancy noise canceling headphones. That is just not necessary and that is not a realistic ask. You could literally just get a pair from your local electronics store for like $30. It does not need to be fancy, but as long as they help you. My next piece of advice to becoming an academic weapon is to manage your time well. My mother always used to say growing up that time is money, which is true, and I never used to understand what she meant by that until I grew older. The first method that I would like to present to you guys that works really well for me and that I mentioned previously is the Pomodoro technique. You could literally go on Google, search for Pomodoro timers, go on YouTube, search for a bunch of Pomodoro timer study with me videos. You will find them everywhere. The Pomodoro technique is basically where you study for 25 minutes at a time and then you take a 5-minute break each, and then after about 4 sessions you take a longer break for about 15 to 30 minutes. Now, if you know anything about the way the brain works, the brain loves little rewards, okay? For example, if you're studying history and you tell yourself that after this 25 minutes in my 5-minute break, I'm gonna get a sweet treat. Your brain loves those little rewards. It's what keeps it going. It's what motivates you. So it's important to take breaks in between. You cannot realistically study for 10 hours straight and just grind the whole thing through. You need to take breaks. And I feel like the Pomodoro technique is a very healthy way to do so without overwhelming yourself or getting burnt out. Now, this next piece of advice might sound a little bit childish, and I've been told it's hella parasocial, but you know what? This is YouTube. It's been parasocial since the very beginning, so I do not care. Do what helps you. Personally, sometimes when I'm studying in school on the weekends, it can feel very lonely when you don't have anyone to study with. So I recommend going on YouTube and searching for the little study with me vlogs that the girlies love to post on here, and I can recommend a bunch of channels that post the best study with me vlogs. I'm going to put them up here so you guys can see, but these are the channels that have helped me so much throughout my academic career, and I think their videos are very fun, and it can help you to just like, you look up and you're like, oh, someone else is studying, I need to log right back in, and you get back to your work, and it's very fun. And I think it can also help support small YouTube creators, so that's amazing. My next important piece of advice, which I also recommend to my writer friends, is to be consistent. You have to be consistent, and you have to have a balanced schedule, okay? It takes 21 days for your brain to form a habit and 3 months for this to become a long-term lifestyle ritual. You need to make this a habit for you. As much as playing video games would be a habit for you in the past, you need studying to replace that. And I will give you guys an example. For example, I have all of the topics that I am planning to study detailed here on my calendar. You can also use the app Notion for this, which I have found to be extremely helpful. Feel free to download, and there are a bunch of amazing templates. I will link a few down in my bio so that you can download them for free online. They are so helpful, and they're also really cute and pretty, and you know, that really helps as well. So for example, today, the 23rd of September, I have it written down to study the reassertion of the Tsarist regime, which is a part of my history as level syllabus, and to later that day study slope processes, which is a part of geography. The next study tip that I'm going to give you is to use the Feynman technique, which I promise you, once you learn this and once you master it, it is as good as gospel. This is basically where you study and you go over your notes, and then afterward you explain it to someone like you would explain it to a 5-year-old. Like, I'm talking someone who has no idea what the heck you're talking about. For example, I will go up to my mother who has a marketing degree and doesn't know anything about this topic and explain to her German unification. She doesn't know who Bismarck is. She doesn't know anything about Metternich and the Metternich system and how conservatism. She doesn't know anything about that, okay? I'm explaining it to her like I would a 5-year-old. And this is a great way to help your memory and to help you be able to recall this information in an exam. Yet another piece of advice that I would offer to you, which I think is arguably one of the most important points that I will give you today, is to simply put up your hand and ask questions in class. You must put up your hand. You must ask questions. It doesn't matter whether you're afraid of seeming stupid or seeming dumb or whatever, because I know that I used to feel that way for a long time, and that's actually why math became an incredibly difficult subject for me, was because internally I always had this feeling of like, oh, everyone's gonna think I'm dumb. Well, I'm gonna give you guys a news flash. Come here, come here. You are paying insane amounts of money at whatever educational institution that you go to learn. These teachers, it is their job, and 99.9% of the time, it is their absolute pleasure to teach you and to have you understand the topic as you should. You are paying money at your school to be able to learn, so you might as well get the best out of it. It's like going to a restaurant and buying food that you don't even eat. Like, hello, you're still paying for it in the end, so you might as well make the best of the situation that you're in. Next up, I recommend using spaced repetition as a way in which to learn your material, be it by doing past papers or making flashcards, which is something that I personally love doing. I've been making flashcards as a method to study since like the 7th grade. I promise you, it is incredibly easy and it can be fun as well. So you write down what you need to know, you pick up the flashcard, flip it to the back, read it, memorize it, put it back, pick up the flashcard, and keep going, okay? Until it's in there, until you memorize it, until you learn it. And I know that there are certain courses, for example, like Cambridge, where memorizing will literally get you absolutely nowhere. Like, you can know the content back to back to back, memorized in your brain, like you have a photographic memory or something. But that's not gonna help you in the end. That is not gonna save you in the end, because what matters is being able to learn it. And once you learn something, once it is in your bones, in your blood, in your brain, no one can take that away from you. Memory slips away, but knowledge is key. So seek to learn and not just to memorize. Next, I would urge you to be organized above all else, because if you are organized, you're already ahead of the game. Organization is key. The minute that you have everything in order that you need to know, you are 10 steps ahead of everyone in your class, 10 steps ahead of everyone behind you.
2 steps ahead. I am always 2 steps ahead.
I recommend getting folders for each of your subjects. You can color coordinate your notes. You just need to have them all in the same space and have written out subheadings for each of your topics. I also recommend doing your homework when you get it and not being a part of Procrastination Nation. Do not fall prey to Procrastination Nation. As a resident citizen of Procrastination Nation, I'm going to tell you, do not come and join us. There's nothing fun happening here. You must do your homework when you get it so that you can have more free time during the week. I would also implore you to be present during your lessons. If you're in class, don't be on your phone, no matter how tempting it might be. That is the time for you to really lock in and listen to your teacher so that later on after school, when you're going through your notes, when you're going through the topic, you can sort of like see a projection of the teacher in front of you explaining what was gone through in class already, and you can spare yourself a lot of headache and a lot of heartache. Now, this might be the most vital point of all.
My one thing was I went into the Disney Channel building and I sat down with the president of Disney Channel and I said, I want to make history. And that's what this is.
Listen to me and listen to me closely. Birds of a feather flock together. Now, if that idiom didn't click for you, I'm going to switch it up a bit, say it in a different way. Show me your friends and I will show you your future. Okay? If you've ever been the kind of person who says something along the lines of, just because my friends are X, Y, and Z doesn't mean that I'm X, Y, and Z. Ooh. Yes, it does. It's just a matter of time. It is just a matter of time. If you found yourself sitting there looking at the smart people in your class and being like, oh my gosh, I wonder how they do it, hee hee ha ha, those are the people who you should be hanging out with. The people that usually get made fun of a lot in classrooms for being too into their schoolwork, those are the people you should be hanging out with. I am here to debunk the biggest lie that you have been sold by society, that the people who sit in the front of the class and are always listening to the teacher, always on top of their homework, that those are the losers. No, no, no. The real loser are the people laughing in the back of the classroom who never do their work, never hand in anything on time. Those are the people who sit in front are going to be employing in future. You do not want to be a part of that bracket. You want to be a part of that bracket. So lock in. And for lack of better terminology, don't be a loser. And I'm not saying that you should become friends with somebody for narcissistic pursuits and wanting to be like them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you should surround yourself with the kind of people who you think reflect your character and reflect the kind of person that you want to be in life. You need to surround yourself with the people who have routine, the people who stick to those routines, the people who study and have a clear vision for their future. It is important for you to have a hobby, and I cannot reiterate this enough. If you're spending all your time, and I mean all the hours of your day studying, and you don't think about anything else you have gotten to a point when you are thinking in fractions and indices, absolutely not. We can't have that. You need to go outside and touch grass. So I implore you, I urge you to find something else that you enjoy outside of that. But as long as you have something that you genuinely enjoy. For example, with me, my passion is obviously content creating, YouTube, and obviously my job, which is being an author, right? So whenever I'm not studying, I am writing my books, I'm editing my books, okay? Whenever I'm not studying, I'm on YouTube catching up with my favorite content creators, having a cute little sweet treat. You need to have a hobby, please. This is not me telling you to not have any other personality outside of studying. That's not what I'm telling you. I'm telling you to create balance. Now, this next one might sound a teeny tiny bit harsh and contradictory, but you need to fail. And I know that sounds crazy, but please hear me out. You need to fail in order to succeed. Did you learn how to ride a bike on your first try? No! It is necessary to fall down and bruise your knees before you can get back up on that bike and finally learn how to ride your bike successfully, okay? You need to fail before you can pass. Unfortunately, this is an unavoidable canon event of learning anything. But as time goes on and you do it more often, you will be able to learn. So I'm gonna tell you right now, right off the bat, you need to accept failure.
No, I don't even know why she would say that.
Hey, look at me guys. You need to accept failure, okay? You need to accept it now, because if you're the kind of person who cannot deal with failing and trying again, learning is not gonna be for you. It's really not. You can't get defeated off of one bad experience. You just need to keep trying, and that's all that matters. A study method that I highly recommend and can also be a lot of fun and a quick way to spice up your study routine is the reality show method.
Don't forget that you are on a mission to become the greatest woman your bloodline has ever seen.
First listen, it might sound a little silly, but I promise you it is extremely fun and a great way to look at things. I give full credit to this method to this creator on Pinterest over here, which is where I first found out about the reality show method. So it's not something that I just randomly made up. I saw it on Pinterest, okay? I don't know what to tell you. It basically says that you have to imagine that your school is a reality show and you're being recorded every single second, okay? And there's cameras recording you and your classmates every single move, and the audience hasn't yet picked a favorite, and you're gunning to be the favorite. So you need to keep your desk organized, you need to keep your environment good, you can't talk bad about anyone around you. While all your classmates are getting shamed by their fan bases for having such terrible personalities, you are loved by your fan base for having a good one and having a good work regime. This is a really good way to monitor yourself and to just make things 10 times more fun, and I highly recommend it if you're feeling a bit silly. Now for this next piece of advice, I would have thought this was absolute common sense, but you'd be surprised just how much it really isn't.
Tell me. Go ahead, I'm listening. I really want to know.
You need to be getting at least 8 hours of sleep every day. And I know obviously if you're in university, this is a bit of an unrealistic expectation if you're really busy and for example, if you work, but you need to try your best to be well rested, because a well-rested mind is an active mind. If you're tired and you're in class and you're exhausted, you're not going to be able to work, okay? And you also need to eat well. You need to have a balanced diet with all of the foods from all the different food groups, and you need to keep healthy, because if you have a healthy body, you will have a healthy mind and you will be able to ace your tests and show up as your best self. If you're not eating well and you're not sleeping well, you are not showing up as your best self. And a key part to being a good student is doing your best to show up for your education as your best self. Next, I'm going to be recommending some apps for you to download for free from the App Store onto your device that can make your studying routine and process so much smoother, because we live in an age of technology and you need to use this to your absolute advantage. Think of the fact that our parents or our grandparents did not have the kind of access we do to the wide world of education of our devices. So please make use of the internet. There are people out there who can help you online. You can have an online tutor. You can go on YouTube, watch free tutorials for all of your math problems or all of the science topics that you're finding difficult. Use it to the best of your ability. Okay, so these are the apps that I recommend to help you study. Number one, I'm sure you're sick of seeing this one, and I'm sure you're sick of every YouTuber doing promo for it, but Notion. Notion is an all-in-one workspace where you can take notes, create to-do lists, and organize your study material. It's perfect for planning and for research. Next up is Anki, which is a flashcard app that uses spaced repetition, which is a great way to study, or you can use Quizlet additionally for making flashcards. Next is Forest, which is a productivity app that helps you stay focused and helps you by planting virtual trees, right? While you study, if you leave the app, the tree dies. Okay, so it's a good way to help you with accountability. That is the Forest app. And next would be Grammarly, which I stand by as an author. I stand by Grammarly. If Grammarly has 0 fans, I must be dead.
Girl, keep calm. No.
Grammarly helps you proofread your assignments and ensure that your grammar, spelling, and pronunciation are spot on. Okay, and I have terrible grammar. Even though I'm an author, I have terrible grammar, and Grammarly has saved me on multiple occasions. Okay, it's saved me on multiple occasions, so I highly recommend Grammarly for making your essays sound more eloquent and seemingly effortless. Okay, next I recommend My Study Life, which is a planner app designed for students to organize their schedules, assignments, and exams, and more are up here on the screen. I would also recommend finding a good way to manage your academic stress, because it is important to acknowledge in a video like this that academic stress is real and it does affect your mental health. So I recommend being able to talk to friends about it, because I know that before an exam, if I'm really stressed, it really makes me feel 10 times better if I just call up a friend and we just share our grievances about this subject, and just, you know, it really helps you feel better. So do not be afraid to talk to your classmates, to talk to friends about how you've been feeling, because I guarantee you, you're not the only person in your class hyperventing over your math exam the next day. I also recommend making use of staff at school who you could be able to speak to. For example, I know that most schools have counselors, so do not be shy to make an appointment with your school counselor. I know that my school has a really cool school counselor who you can speak to, and she's very easy, and these people are literally trained to help you manage your stress and to help you speak through your problems if there's anything else that is preventing you from being the best student that you can be. Okay, so don't be afraid to reach out to a guidance counselor. Don't be afraid to speak to your parents about it, because the minute that we start talking about these things, the less that we destigmatize them. And I know, for example, if you come from families that have a lot of academic pressure that they put on your shoulders, this can be difficult, which is why before I said you can also speak to friends. I believe that family is really what you make of it. And if at home, let's say you're not in a good situation, they're putting too much stress on you, talk to your friends, okay? Talk to your friends. Another great way to manage your stress would be doing exercise, going for a jog in the morning, doing yoga. You don't even have to go to a yoga studio and pay through your teeth for it. You can literally just have a yoga mat, you put it in your bedroom, you play a video on YouTube, and you get in some exercise. I would also recommend downloading the Headspace app, which has great mindfulness meditation that you could do. For example, Additionally, if you are Christian like me, I recommend opening up your Bible, talking to God about it, reading through a couple of verses to motivate you. These are a couple that really motivate me. It's important to remind yourself that you are capable, and these are all amazing ways to remind yourself that you are a capable student and that all these people around you who are passing exams, they are not superhuman, they are not alien, and they are keeping secrets from you. They do not want you to know this, which is why I am sitting here with you as a friend, and I am telling you the ways in which you can do better for yourself. We have come to the end of this video, friends, and I just wanted to say a massive thank you if you managed to stick it out with me right until the end. I really, truly do believe in you, and I know that you're going to hop off of this video and be an entirely changed person. Right? Do you pinky promise me? Pinky promise me right now that you're gonna go out there and you're gonna make a change. Because I know for a fact that the only time that my life started to look any different, the only time that my report card started to look any different was when I made the decision to do better for myself. And I hope that you guys can go out there today and do better for yourselves. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and let me know in the comments what is your favorite study technique that has worked for you. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the video. Let me know who your favorite study tubers are, who you recommend watching. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Love you, bye.